Welcome back to Chat Like a Native.
Hey, everyone.
Ever have that feeling where, in Plenty of English, right? Get the movies, the articles.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's your turn to speak, and the words just, well, they lag.
Oh, yeah. That buffering feeling.
Exactly. Like your brain's just stuck a step behind your mouth.
So frustrating.
Today, we're digging into some surprisingly effective ways to actually bridge that gap. We're talking about training your brain to think and speak English faster.
Yeah, we'll get into how your brain is actually wired for this, believe it or not.
And some really targeted, maybe even fun speaking exercises.
Definitely. And building vocabulary, so it's right there when you need it. Lightning fast recall.
So look, if you're tired of that mental stumble when you speak, this is absolutely the deep dive for you.
It really is. And what's amazing, truly, is how adaptable our brains actually are.
You mean we're not just stuck with how fast we process things now?
Not at all. This idea, neuroplasticity, it basically means our brains can rewire themselves. It's fundamental to speeding up language learning.
Okay, neuroplasticity. So how does that work for, like, speaking faster?
Well, think of it like paths in your brain. The more you use specific paths for English retrieving words, forming sentences, the stronger and crucially faster those paths become.
Ah, like weighing a path in the grass.
Exactly like that. So doing things that challenge your brain, pattern recognition games, memory exercises, they can actually strengthen those language connections.
Interesting.
It reduces that mental lag. It's kind of like mental cross-training, but specifically for language.
Okay, so it's not just about cramming more grammar rules.
No, not just that.
It's about making the brain itself better, more efficient at using the English we already have. That's a really cool way to think about it.
It is.
You know, something I've definitely noticed, when I feel pressure, like I have to speak quickly, sometimes I just freeze, completely blank. Is there like a brain reason for that?
Oh, absolutely. That's anxiety kicking in. When you feel anxious, it sort of creates this bottleneck in your brain's process.
A bottleneck. Okay.
Yeah, your mental energy gets diverted to managing the stress, right? And that leaves less bandwidth for the part of your brain that actually puts sentences together and finds the words, the prefrontal cortex.
Ah, okay. So the stress literally gets in the way of the language bit.
Precisely. And that's why simple calming techniques can be surprisingly powerful.
Like what? Just deep breaths.
Exactly. Even something really basic, like a controlled breath, maybe breathe in for 4 counts, hold for a couple, breathe out slowly for 6, that can actually help calm your nervous system down.
Huh. Just breathing.
Yeah. Or even just taking a conscious pause, centering yourself for a second before you jump in to speak. It gives your brain that space it needs to focus on the English instead of spinning on anxious thoughts.
Okay, create mental space. I like that.
It lets the language flow.
Got it. So we're not just language learners, we're kind of brain trainers too, learning to manage the pressure.
You could definitely put it that way.
All right, let's talk about actually, getting our mouths moving faster.
Right.
Are there specific exercises like drills that really help?
Oh, for sure. One really powerful one is called shadowing.
Shadowing. What's that involve?
You listen to a short bit of audio, someone speaking English naturally at normal speed, and you try to repeat it pretty much immediately, like right after them.
At the same time, or just after?
Almost at the same time, or just a split second behind. The key is focusing on their rhythm, their intonation, how they stress words.
Okay.
What's cool about it is that it kind of bypasses a lot of that conscious thinking and translating in your head. It helps embed the natural flow, the cadence of English speech almost instinctively.
Ah, I see. So it's more about feeling the music of English, not just word by word.
Exactly. You nailed it. It's like learning the choreography of the language.
Choreography, nice. Okay, what about those funny tongue twisters? She sells seashells. Are they actually useful or just for kids?
Huh. They might seem a bit silly, but tongue twisters are surprisingly good for, your mouth's dexterity.
Dexterity?
Yeah, the fine motor skills of your tongue, your lips, your jaw. Practicing things like, she sells seashells by the seashore, or red lorry, yellow lorry.
Oh, that one's hard.
Right. It builds muscle memory for making those tricky English sounds quickly and accurately. It really helps you avoid tripping over words when you're trying to speak faster.
Okay, I'm sold. Adding tongue twisters to my morning routine.
Good plan.
Now, what about words? vocabulary. How do we build it so the words actually, jump to mind faster when we need them in conversation?
Right. Crucial point. This is where thinking about a high impact or high velocity vocabulary comes in handy.
High impact, meaning?
Meaning you focus on the words and phrases that pop up all the time in everyday English, the really versatile ones that give you the most conversational mileage.
Okay, focus on the frequent stuff. Makes sense. How do we do that effectively?
Well, one really good way is keeping an active vocabulary journal.
Active. How's that different from just writing words down?
Instead of just listing words, you pick a small number, maybe say 5 to 10 high-frequency phrases each day. Things like, on the other hand, or as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, phrases.
Then you actively engage with them. Write them down, sure, but also say them out loud. Try using each one in maybe 3 different sentences, different contexts.
Oh, so you really use them.
Exactly. And then maybe try weaving them into a short little self-talk or internal monologue. This active work really helps stick those phrases in your memory for quick recall.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not passive learning. It's actively making them part of how you speak.
Precisely.
And did you mention something about like a system for really locking vocabulary in long term?
Yes. Spaced repetition systems, or SRS, you often find them in flashcard apps.
Like Anki or Quizlet?
Yeah, those kinds of apps. They are incredibly efficient for long-term memory. They use algorithms. Basically, they show you words or phrases right before you're statistically likely to forget them. It is. The intervals between reviews get longer and longer as you remember things correctly. This targeted repetition works with how our memory naturally functions, and it dramatically speeds up how fast you can recall words without thinking too hard.
So it's like optimizing your brain's own memory system for learning words.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow, okay. That sounds way smarter than just cramming lists.
Definitely more effective in the long run.
Now, we've hit speaking drills, we've hit vocabulary. But how do things like listening and reading fit into becoming a faster speaker? Seems a bit indirect.
You'd think so, but integrating them is actually really helpful for syncing up your brain's English processing.
Syncing up.
Yeah. Like try spending even just 15 minutes a day reading something slightly challenging, but you can still mostly understand it while listening to the audio of that same text.
Reading and listening at the same time.
It helps your brain connect the written word with the spoken sound much faster. It speeds up your decoding.
Okay, I can see that. What about just listening, like podcasts?
Definitely valuable. Make a habit of listening to real-world English. Maybe short news podcasts for learners like 6-Minute English, or just podcasts on topics you enjoy.
Right.
But here's the key for speed. Right after listening, try to summarize what you heard out loud, just for like 1 minute.
Oh, okay. Force yourself to produce.
Exactly. It forces that quick mental processing and then immediate production in English. It's a great little workout for real-time translation in your head.
Right. It's that active step after understanding that builds the speed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, the real world, how do we take all these techniques, the shadowing, the vocab, the listening summaries, and actually use them when we're, talking to people?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Putting it all together.
So any tips for applying this in actual conversations?
One really effective strategy is using short, timed conversations.
Timed, like with a stopwatch.
Kind of. Find a study buddy or use a language exchange app and literally set a timer for maybe just 2 minutes. Pick a simple topic you're weak in, a movie you saw, and just focus on speaking continuously for those 2 minutes.
Continuously, even if I make mistakes.
Especially if you make mistakes. Don't worry too much about perfect grammar. The goal is just to keep the flow going, keep talking, and practice recovering quickly if you stumble.
Recovering quickly. That's important.
Super important. It's like a mini pressure cooker situation that helps you practice thinking on your feet in English.
Okay, timed chats. What else?
Another really valuable thing is self-recording.
Recording myself speaking. Oh, I don't know if I could listen back.
Haha, it can be a bit cringy at first, I know, but it's so helpful. Record yourself talking for just a minute, maybe answering a simple question.
Okay, then what?
Then you listen back. But listen specifically for hesitations. The ums, the unness, the long pauses where you got stuck.
Right. Identify the sticky points.
Exactly. Then try recording again, maybe the next day, and consciously try to reduce just one of those hesitation types. Doing this regularly lets you actually track your improvement in speed and fluency. It gives you concrete data.
That's actually a great idea. Objective feedback, Seeing where the slowdowns really happen.
Yep. Takes the guesswork out of it.
Okay, this is all fantastic stuff. But Learning a language, getting faster, it takes time, right? It's easy to lose motivation. How do we keep going with these speed practices?
That's so true. Consistency is key, and motivation fuels consistency. Celebrating the small wins is really important here.
Small wins, like what?
Like noticing you spoke for slightly longer in your timed chat this week, or maybe you tracked your words per minute during a recording and saw a tiny increase. Acknowledge that progress.
Yeah.
Reward yourself somehow. It really helps keep you going.
Okay, notice the improvements, however small.
Absolutely. And another really practical strategy is something called habit stacking.
Habit stack?
Yeah, you link a new habit, one of these speed drills, to something you already do every single day without thinking about it.
Give me an example.
Okay, so maybe you do a few tongue twisters while you're brushing your teeth. Or you review your SRS flashcards during your commute or your coffee break.
Okay, I see. You attach the new practice to an existing routine.
Exactly. It makes it much more likely that you'll actually do it because it doesn't require extra willpower or remembering separately. It just becomes part of your flow.
That is super practical. Less mental effort needed to stay consistent.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay. These are genuinely useful, encouraging tips. So let's just quickly recap the main things we've talked about.
Sounds good.
We've looked at priming the brain,
Yeah.
using that neuroplasticity idea, and calming anxiety with things like breathing.
Right. Getting the brain ready.
Then the targeted speaking practice, shadowing for rhythm, tongue twisters for muscle memory,
Building the physical skills.
building that high-impact vocabulary with active journals and those clever spaced repetition systems.
Making words stick and recall faster.
Integrating listening and reading, like reading along with audio or doing quick summaries after listening.
Syncing comprehension and production.
And then bringing it all into the real world with timed conversations and self-recording to track progress.
Putting it into practice and measuring improvement.
And finally, staying motivated by celebrating those small wins and using habit stacking.
Keeping the momentum going.
It really paints a picture that becoming a faster, more fluent English speaker isn't just magic, is it?
Not at all. It's about actively training your brain, training your mouth through consistent, targeted practice.
This has been incredibly insightful, really helpful stuff.
Glad to hear it.
Now, for all of you listening out there, just think about maybe one technique we discussed today. Which one kind of resonated or sounded interesting to you?
Yeah, just pick one.
How could you maybe weave just 5 minutes, only 5 minutes of that specific practice into your daily routine this week, starting tomorrow, and just see what happens, see what difference it makes?